Welcome back to another Twilight Masquerade TCG guide. This time we're going to be looking at Froslass and Glalie. So Froslass is a really good Pokemon, has a great ability called Freezing Shroud. During Pokemon checkup, put one damage counter on each Pokemon that has an ability, both yours and your opponent's, except any other Froslass. So you're going to want to be using this in spread damage decks. You'll find this card in a lot of fun to play decks, so for that reason we're going to rank this B tier. Let's now take a look at a lot of Pokemon that synergize really well with Froslass. The first group of cards are spread damage dealers themselves as well, so you can multiply on top of what Froslass is doing with his ability with attacks from these Pokemon. So Raichu is a really good example with its collateral bolts. This attack does 50 damage to each Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. You can get the same effect with Hisuian Bravery, just not as much damage. And then the last one in this category is Zeraora V-Star. It's Lightning Storm Star V-Star power. You can choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 4 times, and for each time you choose a Pokemon, you can do 60 damage to it, and you can select the same Pokemon if you want to, so you could deal 240 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, or you can spread 60 damage counters across 4 different Pokemon, or you could even select 2 Pokemon to deal 120 damage to, so it's really flexible, and it really stacks with the amount of damage that you're dealing with Raichu and with Froslass. Moving on to the next category of Pokemon, these Pokemon are essentially going to deal extra damage if your opponent's Pokemon have any damage on them. Masquerade EX, Mimikyu, Sandslash, Gyarados EX, Greninja EX, Hisuian Samurott V-Star, Brute Bonnet. This next category of Pokemon allow you to deal more damage based on the amount of damage on your own Pokemon. So Tickling Curse, this attack does 50 damage for each of your Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So if you play a load of Pokemon with abilities, your Froslass is dealing damage to your own Pokemon, that's powering up Hisuian Zoroark's attack. Aggron is the other with its Angry Slam attack that does 50 damage for each of your Pokemon that have any damage counters on it. This next category of Pokemon allow you to move damage counters across your opponent's Pokemon. Sableye with its Damage Collection, Cresselia with Moonglow Reverse, Altaria with Magical Echo, Radiant Alakazam with its Painful Spoons ability, Alakazam with its Strange Hacking, and then finally this last category of Pokemon essentially put your opponent's Pokemon down to very low HP and then allowing Froslass to finish them off with his ability. Sarina EX with its Icicle Soul puts your opponent's active Pokemon down to 30 HP. Even better is Alolan Raticate with its Super Fang. This only applies to the active Pokemon, but it puts it down to 10 HP. And then finally Scolipede, which is in the new Twilight Masquerade set, and we will cover this when we get to our Dark Pokemon, with its Dastardly Jab attack. Put damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon until its remaining HP is 10. Let's quickly look at Glalie, which is the other Pokemon in the Twilight Masquerade set. With its Damage Beat attack, this attack does 20 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, it synergizes really well with Froslass. The reason why that's good is because they both evolve from Snorunt, so this is the Snorunt from the new Twilight Masquerade set. It does only have 60 HP, so it can be bench sniped by Dragapult EX, so you need to be careful of that. Quickly looking at a few trainer cards that are going to synergize well with Froslass. Damage Pump allows you to move 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your other Pokemon, so this is going to help those Pokemon that deal extra damage based on the number of your bench Pokemon that have damage counters on them. Or if you need to heal your Pokemon because Froslass is dealing too much damage to them, you can use Emergency Jelly to fully heal them. So the Pokemon that this tool is attached to, once its HP is 30 or less, it will heal 120 damage from it. Let's take a look at some cards that are going to help you deal even more damage. So Vengeful Punch is going to deal an extra 4 damage onto your opponent's attacking Pokemon, only if that Pokemon is knocked out. Calamitous Snowy Mountain is going to apply 2 extra damage counters onto any of your opponent's Pokemon when they attach an energy card to a non-basic water Pokemon. Technical Machine Blindside deals 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Gapejaw Bog, so whenever either player puts a basic Pokemon from their hand onto their bench, you're going to put 2 damage counters onto it. Rocky Helmet, if the Pokemon the card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if it's knocked out, you put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And then finally, the ace spec that I suggest you use is Hyper Aroma, because you're going to be able to get up to 3 Froslass straight away onto your bench, all in one turn. Or you could play Legacy Energy to avoid giving any prize cards away for your Froslass when they get knocked out. It deters your opponent from switching Froslass into the active spot, because they're not going to get any prizes for it, so it kind of gives it a bit of safety on the bench. And that's it for this Froslass guide. I know it was a long one. For those of you that have stuck around, let us know in the comments what you thought. Are there any other cards that can synergize well here? It'll help us improve. It'll help other followers of the channel improve. And if you've enjoyed the content, follow the channel. Really appreciate the support. Until next time, that's me shuffling out again.